So I'm in the Texas clan.
Hello and welcome to episode number 31 of Unrelenting, the most unrelenting podcast in the universe. I am Darren O'Neill, and I'm coming to you live from Chicago, where it's finally under triple digits. So I'm feeling a lot better. Well, to be fair, Gene, I never leave the house. So it was the hotter it gets outside.
Yeah, what do you give a shit what the weather is? You're never out of the house.
The hotter it gets outside, the colder it gets in here. So I was getting a little chilly because you have to keep going up. For what I mean, I'm assuming the reason is it's the most extreme or least served area of the house, which is where they put the thermostat. Because I mean, we don't have one of those fancy new homes that have like multiple thermostats that can do.
Boy, you're missing out because my thermostat decided to raise the temperature to 84 during the week.
Wait, was this because of the government or was this just because of a glitch?
No, that was the city of Austin.
Wow, you have that control now already, where it's like,
yeah, they because when I went into the thermostat, first I noticed it seemed a little warm.
Well, yeah,
and then I went
warm
into the thermostat and it was set to 84 degrees, and I'm like, what the fuck? 84 is a little too hot.
You think?
Yeah, and so I went in the app and it said you were participating in an energy reduction event.
Did you want to be Wait, did you have to opt in for this?
Yeah.
So just like
there's nothing that
they give you better rates.
Nefarious. It's just stupid. So basically, about a year ago, they had a thing which is, would you like $100?
And you're like, all you got to do. At the time.
Yeah, exactly. All you got to do is give us access to your thermostat. Because, we just want to know what people's temperatures are set to for statistics.
Right. We're never going to touch it.
Okay, well, that's cool. I'll take $100. Sure.
I'll let you see what kind of an energy whore I am.
Yeah. By the way, I'm in the kitchen, which is mostly granite.
Yeah, I can hear.
And hardwood.
Well, you can sing. You've got a nice little booth going here.
And so, yeah, you're going to get a little more reverb out of me than normal.
A walking Sir Gene during a podcast. This is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The most physical activity you'll get this month.
Maybe. We'll see.
But this concept of, let us control your thermostat. Now, can you retake control from them?
Yeah, I opted out as soon as I realized what the fuck was going on. So here's the thing. If they wanted to change the temperature by a couple degrees, right, I may not have even noticed. What kind of brainiac decides to change the indoor temperature for a house with air conditioning to 84 degrees?
Yeah, that seems like way hotter than any house would get.
They're just asking for people to leave the program at that point.
Well, they're wanting to let you know that the right thing for the planet is for you to use less energy.
Yeah, don't give a shit about that. But they just, like, somebody has to have at least one brain cell in there to realize that if we do this gradually, no one's going to notice. And if we do it abruptly to a crazy-ass temperature, everyone's going to leave the program. Oh, and by the way, I already got the $100. So
somebody's going to be at your door. We need that $100 back.
Yes, we need our money for the temperature of the world.
But this
bad guys always have German accents. I've noticed that.
Of course. Well, this is what it's going to, though. And this is why all of this stuff, and I remember railing about it when they finally forced us to get the new meter here from the electric company. These smart meters are evil. They're like, oh, no, this is just great, because it's wireless and it'll send us how much usage you've had. So we don't have to send a guy out. So it's more convenient and more efficient. They don't let you know. They
tell me every day how much I'm killing the planet.
Yes. And you don't then understand. They go that these smart meters could be like, well, Gene, you're only going to get X amount of kilowatt hours per day. So You better start deciding on whether you want to use that electricity to wash your clothes or to light the house or to run your computer.
Well, thankfully, they think I have like 20 children here, so that's good.
Well, they were trying to kill them then by bringing it to 84 degrees.
Well, I've been hoarding baby formula, so I think the statistics from the store purchases are making their way across the board. So
they're well aware that you have a sweatshop now in the basement.
I do have a sweatshop in the basement.
You're
either that or a
something.
grow house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you use baby formula for growing weed? Is that a thing?
I don't know. You'd have to ask somebody that grows weed.
Because that would also explain the baby formula shortage way better than, we just weren't ready for this.
Well, back in the old days, in my day, if you got some bad Coke, that might have some baby formula, dry milk powder in there. But, I don't think people do that anymore, do they?
I don't know. I know that there have been warnings going out for people not to pick up folded bills if you see them on the street or wherever, because they might contain fentanyl, which...
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Well, I had no idea the small amount, like 5-6 little grains of fentanyl are enough to kill you. So,
well, you might want to wash the money first. You go take it to the laundry.
Well, you want to pick it up with like tongs or something? Well, that's just it. It's like I guess there's a possibility that, you pick this up and there's that powder on it and it gets on your hands and either it goes through your skin, which is a possibility, or, maybe you like rub your eye or whatever. And the next thing you know,
what if you're wearing a mask? That makes everything better.
Well, you'd have to have the eye goggles. You have to have goggles though for your eyes. Need to protect that.
But masks keep you alive. Everybody knows
every hole has to be covered though. Yeah, every hole has to be covered with the mask.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So if your person standing across from you isn't wearing a mask, then the fentanyl goes right through your mask.
It's possibly right, and then that could kill them. But it's like,
but more importantly, it could kill you if they're not wearing a mask.
Exactly. Now you finally figured it out.
Yeah,
I
get it.
I mean, as long as we're down in this area of insanity, the CDC just came out with very similar, like they had with the COVID. They came out with some guidelines for monkeypox.
And what do the guidelines for monkeypox say?
This from an article on the Daily Mail. I'll just read it because it's entertaining, as the Daily Mail often is. The CDC has issued bizarre guidance telling Americans infected with monkeypox to have sex by masturbating at least 6 feet away from their partner, among other recommendations. Okay,
so they're into voyeurism. Okay.
Right. They came out with, and I remember one of these very weird little infographic things that the CDC came out with for COVID, but this one has a bunch of little pictures and it's try virtual sex. And then there's masturbate 6 feet apart, wash afterwards, avoid kissing, and wear clothes. Now, I don't know how you can stay fully covered and have sex, but that goes right to the mask idea, where as long as you're covered from head to toe.
Clearly, you're not a Zoomer. They don't take their clothes off for sex.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems weird.
No, because you don't want to be gross.
The most cases of monkeypox in California and New York, 16, and then Illinois with 10. So, yes, we're on that list. There's Texas. Texas has 1, it looks like.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, we don't fuck our monkeys like you guys, apparently.
Oh, wow. Gene at sirgene.com.
What, are you on the pro monkey fucking lobby or what? What is this?
Go down to Brookfield.
Oh, my God. This person doesn't want to fuck monkeys? Well, let's make sure everyone writes a nasty letter to that.
You're such a horrible, hateful person, Gene, not wanting people to love their monkeys. Why?
Is monkey fucking part of the rainbow now? Is that what you're telling me?
I think so. Spank your monkey. Whatever your monkey wants. Everybody now, if I can quote the Beatles, everybody's got something to hide except for me and my monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, then Peter Gabriel wanted to shock the monkey. I mean, there's a lot of, when you really think about it, rock and roll music wants you to do weird stuff with your monkey. So I don't know.
Rock and roll music was mostly made on fentanyl.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll kill you, just a few little grains. That's the one. I mean, I knew fentanyl was bad, but this concept, like, well, if you pick up a dollar bill that has some of this on there, it's like,
why do you think Elvis was moving his hips around so much?
He was ready to go, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was ready to go.
And he finally took him a while, but he finally had a little too much fentanyl in the system.
Finally had a little bit too many drugs, which is a shame.
Fentanyl, yeah.
Enjoy Elvis's music. He was the king for a reason. I mean, when the two people in pop music, rock music that are considered the king, and then you look at Elvis, you look at Michael Jackson, and you're like, oh, one's not like the other.
Michael Jackson was the king of pop.
Pop. Yeah. Little different, though, but still a king.
Yeah. Much better.
Way better, you think?
Oh, absolutely.
You want to beat it?
Dude, Michael Jackson was way more talented than Elvis. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, he could dance.
Elvis had a particular sound, but Elvis is just trying to get laid. That was it.
That's rock and roll, baby.
He wasn't even thinking of getting laid. He was thinking about monkeys.
Right. We're right back to that because he had his pet monkey Bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. When you're popping bubbles, that's wrong. Sorry, I apologize.
That's how you get monkeypox.
Yes,
when you're popping bubbles.
That's how it starts, man.
And of course, Michael died of fentanyl. So
this is kind of an interesting episode.
According to Adam,
we are tying a little bow on this and bringing things together nobody ever thought were together.
Well, for a change, I'm actually on my feet instead of sitting down, which maybe I should get a standing desk when I do podcasts, huh?
Maybe it can keep you going, keep you a little more energetic.
Somebody told me to do that a long time ago, and I disregarded everything he says, apparently, about podcasting. But
I'm guessing that would be the tall guy from...
tall dude. Yeah. Most tall guys, not trustworthy.
That's what I hear. That is what I hear. But
that's what the normal height community says anyway.
Well, what is normal? I mean, for some people, 6'5" is normal.
5'7"?
No. I mean, that's normal for a totally small female, 5'7". I don't know.
Yes, the average height of a man on the planet, in the world, is 5'6".
You know, and I could say that I was blessed with the height, but I don't really know if it is a blessing because tall guys do not live as long. I mean, I remember somebody pointing that out. Like, you don't see a lot of these old basketball players. You don't see a lot of them at like 70 or 80 years old. It's like they're dropping. So I've got that to look forward to.
Yeah. No.
Riding on an airplane. You know, it used to be okay back 20 years ago before all of these airplanes have gone the route of.
Oh, they're going to start doing double-decker seating now. Have you seen that?
No. How do you do double-decker seating on an airplane?
So imagine an airplane where the seats are further apart from each other so you can stretch your legs in front of you.
Well, that would be nice.
Right? And then right above your legs is the next height of seats. So your legs are between the seats and the floor.
Interesting. So they're moving this one row of seats up to give you more leg room.
Next people's legs are above your head.
That's
you can cram like 1.5 times as many people into a plane that way.
There's going to be some claustrophobic issues for people, though, I would guess.
Well, maybe people shouldn't be flying if they're claustrophobic. Have you ever thought of that?
Maybe they shouldn't be flying at all if they're over 5'7".
Well, that too. Yeah. Well, no, 5'7" people are sitting in the first class.
They're comfortable, right? Well, no, when you're 5'7", every seat is kind of like first class. You don't really need the leg room. And that always...
It's not about the leg room. It's about the comfort.
That always annoyed me getting onto Southwest flights when the front row was like 2 or 3 people that were like 5 foot between them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what the hell do you need a front row seat for?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need someplace to put my legs. That's why I don't feel bad.
Well, maybe you should buy the front row then.
You can't with Southwest. It's all roll the dice.
Maybe tall people shouldn't be flying Southwest.
Maybe that's true. That I'm not going to disagree with. You have to fly first class. Really, the only thing you should fly is a chartered plane where you can have all the leg room you want.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't work for you. You know what the height is on those planes?
It's a lot less than a commercial carrier.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I'd have to crawl in.
5'9".
I'd have to
It's
crawl in.
5'9", so I can stand just fine in there.
I don't need to stand. Just get me a nice lazy boy or whatever they've got in those, and I'll be good.
Lazy boy.
Planes are bad. See, Brooklyn, no doubt about it. There's nothing
trains
fun.
are much better.
Well, this is true. And I have never taken a long train ride. I mean, I've used the
You
train.
live in Chicago and you've never done the Chicago to LA?
No.
You should before they stop doing it.
You say that you've never done the Chicago to LA. I mean, that's the Zephyr run, which is Chicago to Dvorak. It's actually to San Francisco.
It is right to Dvorak's house. Yes.
And it's like, boom, but you just want to go see JCD, hop on the Zephyr. And we've talked about it. Excuse me, for doing like a moving, no agenda meetup.
On the train.
Right.
Yeah. And then you could literally do like meetups in 11 states without getting off.
Well, people would have to, I don't know how long the train stays in each one of those states, but the people might have
long enough for a meetup.
It's like pop off, get in, say hello. And here's the great thing. It would be like 40.
No. I don't mean stop. I mean, like while you're in that state on the train, that's the meetup in that state.
For those people, you're like, yes.
For the same people. You can do 11 meetups.
That's true. And then here's the greatest thing. The ride from Chicago to San Francisco is about 53 hours, if I remember correctly.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah. But that would be like...
It should be 53 to LA.
And that's... the beauty of this is you could drink the whole way. And then when you stumble off the train, you just call JCD for a ride.
That's right.
Like, can you come pick us up?
Well, he could come pick you up in his 28-year-old Lexus.
Dude, that's the only way to fly. Our cars are like about the same age because I'm not buying a new damn car. You're not getting me on one of these electric pieces of crap. That's why I don't have a smart meter telling the thermostat what to do in the house. Yeah,
well, the smart meters only charge the electric cars at night now because they don't want to be using energy during the day.
That's very inconvenient if you work the graveyard shift.
Well, sucks for you.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was nice though when it was so hot. I was worried, one, that our air conditioner was going to fry.
That's always a risk.
And because we knew...
What, do you not have a backup air conditioner? Come on, man.
I do. Well, not a full house one, but that is what, when it was hot at the beginning of this summer for a few days, and we had the guy come out because what the problem turned out to be that there's obviously a slight leak somewhere in the refrigerant. So it had to be rezapped, refilled. And it's been working fine since then. But we also got one of the LG, and I forget how many BTUs it is, but, like a $400 portable air conditioner that you vent out through the window. And that thing works great.
So it just throws all the heat out the window.
Yeah. And the nice thing there is, so if the main system goes, which we had the blower in our furnace go a few years ago, when it was about the same thing. It was like the 3 days in Chicago where it was going to be 100 for 3 days in a row. That's when the blower went out, and it was just miserable. So having this, where at the very least, one room in the house could stay at a relatively cool temperature, it's a nice backup to have. And I didn't know for a tip here of saving money, because I think a lot of people are hurting right now, thanks to Uncle Joe, thanks to gas prices, thanks to...
I thought it was thanks to Uncle Putin.
No, that's what Uncle Joe tells us. He's blaming it on Uncle Vlad.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Vlad is a benevolent, fine old man. But my wife picked this up at Home Depot, and because Menards, another home improvement store, they were running their 11% off everything rebate. That, she's like, oh no, there's a website you could just go. And she got the 11% off through Home Depot. So it's like, well, that's like $50 off, which wasn't a bad idea to use all of these realms you can to get some cash back on things, try to save money.
That is something more people are doing for sure.
Well, it's because all of a sudden, all of that extraneous cash people had, they're like, I'm kind of under cashed now. I mean, I'm looking at my crypto and I'm
under
going,
cashed. That's a great term.
I am undercashed. I'm looking, my cryptos have gone way down. 401ks way down. And I get it. You need to save money in any way you can and ride through this. And that's it. You got to look for bargains. Call up, if you haven't, call up your cable company and be like, I want a better deal. Do a little bit of research first to know what's out there. At the very least, the cable company will give you whatever that new promotion is. So if the plan you're on, you're paying like $200 a month, which some people pay for TV, which I still don't get. I know maybe it's bundled with everything, your TV and your phone and your internet. But if you see they're doing a thing right now, we're like, hey, new customers come in for this plan and it's only $75.95. Well, you call up nicely and ask for that and you'll usually get it. You don't even have to threaten to quit anymore, which used to be the thing.
Yeah, I remember you had a whole story about how you do that.
And it works.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And it's like, hey, if you need to save the money, it's like something, it's like it will take a little bit of time. And when things are good and you're not worried about every last dollar, you're like, well, I want to spend 20 minutes doing that. When filling up your gas tank is $100, you're like, yeah, I'll spend 10 minutes.
I noticed that. It seemed to be like over $100 now.
Thanks, Uncle Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Putin. Really?
No, it's the Putin. Putin's going to save us.
What I read is that Putin is actually running the U.S.
Is he? I thought that was only when Trump was in office.
No. But thankfully, Biden is running Russia, and it's having the best decade ever. They're winning all the military conflicts. The ruble is just going astronomically good now. You got way more buying power. They just reduced their interest rates by 10%. It's like, holy shit, Biden, you're really doing a hell of a job.
Invest in Mother Russia. Might be the way to go.
You can't afford to anymore.
I love that the woke McDonald's pulled out of Russia. And it was just immediately taken over, and they're still making the same food. They just put a different brand on it. It's like, how is this helping McDonald's? Unless they really weren't making any money, which I doubt.
Oh, they were making lots of money. Are you kidding? Because the only thing you're paying for having the McDonald's in Russia is you're paying McDonald's for the name. They're not shipping beef over from the U.S. into Russia.
Right. It's the ultimate in having a franchise.
Yeah. It's a franchise where you're basically just buying the name.
Which is fine. Throw it out front. People like, hey, we know McDonald's. Wait, I didn't know that McDonald's sold what do they sell? Borscht in Russia. You get a little borscht with your fries.
I've never had borscht in McDonald's in Russia.
Maybe you can now.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it.
You kind of doubt it. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice here now that the weather broke
They did have some different food, but most of it is the same. Most of it was, cheeseburgers and Big Macs.
Come to the Billy Goat if you want a damn good cheeseburger with the worst possible location and ambiance you could ever get. Lower Wacker Drive in Chicago. You've been to the Billy Goat. Did we lose Gene? Did his Bluetooth give out? Is his headset not fully charged? He's still connected, but I don't think he's connected locally. Maybe the snake got him. What do you think? Maybe the yogurt got him? Gene, I know. Gene, fucking Gene. Exactly right, see Brooklyn. Gene's using a headset today, Ned, because his main computer crashed and he didn't have a backup SSD drive, I guess. Really, what kind of a dude named Ben are you if you don't have a backup SSD drive? That your main drive isn't ready and mirrored and you pop it in and you continue on. So he's on his laptop today and he was using a headset and then he was wandering the house and now he has gone away. I'm wondering if the the power grid finally got them. They were, well, you don't have a backup SSD either, Ned. Oh, it's a HDD. Well, that's fine, as long as you have a backup something or other. But I'm wondering if the power grid got Gene, took him out. He may still be standing, walking around, talking, because you know how it is. Just doesn't even know. Although if the power goes out, you'd know. When they turn up your air conditioner to 84 degrees, maybe they're like, what we're trying to tell you in a not so subtle way is that here in Austin, we don't really have enough power to fulfill all of our customers' needs. Ergo, we're going to need to turn you off for a while. And that may be what happened right here. Because his head is gone, as Adam Curry likes to say. In the clean feed interface, there really is. There's no head. There is only text. But that means it wasn't a problem with the microphone or headset disconnecting. It is more likely a problem with their internet or their power. They're in Austin, Texas, home of the free, land of the Tex-Mex food. Let's text. Maybe we can get an update. Maybe Unrelenting has finally relented. When is Unrelenting live today? That's a really good question, Sir Nubbin. It was live. It was live, and then the Gene's power went out, or his internet went out, or something. Surly Mofo, nice. Is Gene gone? Hardly noticed. Carry on. It's okay. It's still unrelenting. Sometimes you just have to relent. Gene says browser crashed, relighting. Wow, see, he probably has a virus or something there, I would bet. And I'm wondering, does anybody in the Austin area, I mean, if you're a dude named Ben, maybe you can help Gene out and you can get him some much needed tech support to help this old guy just reboot his machine and clean out all of the viruses. I mean, I would say to clean out all the porn, but you really don't want to come anywhere close to the porn that is most likely on Gene's machine. The tell him Internet Explorer is end of life. Got to use something better. Hey, you're not wrong, Amducius. Internet Explorer. It's hard to believe it was just a scant few years ago that was a new thing. And then people were mad that Microsoft was intentionally forcing this on people by putting it on their machine when poor little Firefox couldn't get a foothold. Now there's a lot of better browsers out there. I've been using Brave as my daily driver for a while now, and I have to say that I don't even mind the Brave search engine, and I'm not really sure what they're using to pull all of their results in, whether it's just borrowing time on one of the other search engines or whatever. But I was using the DuckDuckGo until they went all anti-Russia and all we're going to start doing. Hey, look, Gene's back. But when
testing.
When DuckDuckGo started censoring the Russian stories, I went to the Brave search, and it's been working really well. So you're back. I was just seeing if anybody in Austin could get some tech help for an elderly gentleman in a hot house.
Nice.
He needs a little help.
In a hot house.
In a hot house because, the air conditioning was turned off by the cloud. So now if he would have died, could somebody have sued the power company? Because, once they talked about this on No Agenda yesterday, there's a certain temperature they believe where people just come and die. Just spontaneously die. There's a temperature and boom, you might have hit it in that very warm house.
Oh, that's totally the case. Yeah. I mean, I figure with Austin, I remember the first year I moved here, it was 100 degrees for 100 days.
Nice.
And I think we had like 5 people die.
Which is low for that kind of heat. But I was trying to...
That's because people fucking live here. They're used to the heat.
I was trying to figure out the math on running the portable air conditioner. Because we have the main whole house unit, and that's what normally runs. Now, when it gets really hot.
Boy, this is going to be a hell of an interesting episode with a lot of donations for the next one. Let's talk about air conditioning some more.
It should be. Now, when it gets to be, 100 degrees, even with the air cranking, it's very cold downstairs because it's a split level house and we have a basement. But upstairs, really hot because, the air just can't permeate all that heat going up into the upper levels. And I'm sure that the further away you get, the less air pressure you get pumping the stuff through. Now, my question is... It's
not easy at all. Okay.
I know. I am not an air conditioning technician, and I don't understand physics.
Are you not?
Okay. No. But now running the portable AC, which I just vented it out, the bathroom window in the master bedroom, in the master bath, and it sits right there in the doorway, blowing nice cold air into the master bedroom. And I noticed that, even leaving that thing on in the mid 70s, the whole upstairs was cooler, which makes sense. But I was kind of like postulating well, is this making the main machine work less, which would actually then save money, or is it costing money because I'm running two at the same time? Or is this helping out the main one, which I'm assuming uses more electricity? Hard to say with portable units. But I was trying to do that math, and I really just didn't know. But either way, it was cool in the house, so that was nice.
Well, it's such a fascinating topic, I have to say. But
hey, but you know what? The government's not changing by thermostat.
Current events.
It is It is the government.
Well, that's right. And you didn't get a check for $100 either, I bet.
No, I did not get a check for the $100, and I would like to take my. Although we do cash in, if I can use that pun, when ComEd, which they do this each and every year, they will give you rebates if you buy appliances that are Energy Star or whatever it's called now compliant.
And you buy an appliance a year?
Well, the interesting thing is air purifiers are on there, and they will give you up to...
No way.
Yes, they will give you $50 an air purifier.
That's scammy.
Yes, for up to 2 air purifiers a year. Now, you can buy a decent air purifier for like $79, and the replacement filter on said air filter that's like $79 is usually like $50. So the reality is ComEd is funding the wastefulness of just buy an air purifier, use it for your 6 months or a year, and then just throw it out rather than getting a new filter, because they're going to keep giving you $50 off every time you buy one.
Well, that doesn't sound like that's promoting Mother Earth at all.
No, it does not, which is why I like doing it personally.
That is nuts, man.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about doing this podcast in the kitchen is I can actually look at the fridge while I'm talking to you and find something yummy.
I don't know if this is good for
like a lemon.
You're saying that talking about air conditioning
for a little bit.
Air conditioning's no good talk, but you telling us what's in your fridge is scintillating. This is what people tune in for.
I was thinking of making an omelet while we're doing the podcast here.
I love omelets.
That'd be about right.
Although I made some like huevos rancheros
omelets
this
morning. Omelets could be pretty good.
Yeah. You have to know what you're doing.
Some ranch eggs?
Yeah. Well, little eggs, a little cheddar cheese, a little salsa, boom. Little not cayenne pepper, one of those.
It's actually not a bad combination.
No, and it was chipotle powder. A little bit of that over the top. It's good stuff. I love cooking. I've never tried making a rolled omelet in the old, was that the French, in the French way. But I'm more of just a throw it in a pan and flip it. And if you don't flip it, then it's a frittata, which still works, really. Which still works.
Frittata is an unflipped omelet?
Yeah, it's pretty much an omelet that isn't folded.
That's mostly, folded or flipped?
Folded. Because most omelets, then you fold, and that's how the juicy stuff's on the inside, but the outside's a little crusty. It's a magical world, this breakfast
Shouldn't
food.
really be crusty, but...
It depends how you like it.
Yeah, I just sure.
Sure. I mean, at least you have your food
Yeah,
ordered. They didn't turn your refrigerator and freezer off yet, the power company.
I'm sure they tried.
we really would rather you didn't use any power today.
Mm-hmm.
We're having a shortage.
Yep. Hey, speaking of power, so when I was bitching about my heat being turned up to my other co-host, dude named Ben, who works in the power industry.
Yes.
He quickly looked up the power usage in Texas and said, well, why the hell are they turning you up to 84 when there's plenty of power on the grid? We're not short at all. Because that was the alleged reason for doing this, was power conservation.
Right, because they're running short. You don't want to blow up.
Well, you don't want to just go down. You'd rather proactively reduce usage to not completely go over 100%.
Right, so the whole thing doesn't crash.
Yeah, because that takes a while to restart. I think it was like an hour to 4 hours, in fact, to restart the power grid in Texas. I don't understand why. All you got to do is flip the breaker, or just, wherever that is for the whole state. But whatever.
You think it's just as easy as going into the basement and flipping a switch, don't you?
Well, I mean, it is in my house, so I don't understand what the big deal is. So I think they're literally doing this purely for save the Mother Earth and not for actual risk of power excessiveness.
I believe that. I think that's why a lot of this stuff is being done.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in areas that have a highly leftist mentality for the people in charge. You can say anything like, oh, no, we need to cut back. Nobody knows really why. I mean, as a consumer, you don't really know whether the power grid's about to go down or not. You just know whether your air conditioning is running or not. Which is why the whole house generator thing is a great idea.
Yeah. No, I think that people that can have a whole house generator definitely have an advantage. And I thought the really cool idea was that Ford truck, I think you can get it in the F-150 or the new electric one, the Lightning, where you can power your whole house off the truck.
Until you have to drive it away to refill it with gas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's still genius. But it'll buy you a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's not like you have to fill up with gas every 4 hours. It's given the size of the gas tanks. Now it'll cost you a couple $100 for a few days of power. So it's way less efficient than getting it from the electrical company. But push comes to shove, you'll have power and your neighbors won't.
You'll be nice and cool. You'll be enjoying yourself while frying up a big omelet.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Be prepared.
So, it just also reminded me that you see that story about Germany cracking down on, quote, pro-Russia reporters, a.k.a. reporters.
People saying things about Russia that they don't like. And this is...
So as Germany is getting ready to ship Panzers into fight Russia...
Well, yeah, because Ukraine, they need the help.
Yeah, well, Germany's got a history of sending Panzers to Ukraine to fight Russia. So that's not really a new thing for them. And apparently now, if you report a story that portrays Russia in a good light, that's a 2-year sentence in prison for you.
Well, so are they going to put the Pope in jail?
Why would the media have any kind of freedoms to report what they see when they can get their talking points from the puppet masters of Germany, being the U.S.?
Well, because the media lies about everything, and they know they lie about everything. They know they're being paid to lie about everything.
Yeah.
Just like you took your $100
from... They can go spend some time in jail.
Well, you took that $100 just so, the power company could control you, and then they just took the money to put out whatever they're told to put out. And that's all it really is that, it's like, well, we're just doing our job, man. When When the people that run the network
Yep.
say this is what you need to say, then that's what you get.
Yeah, that we're just doing our job line has also a long history in
You
Germany
think?
as well.
No, we were just doing what we were told. Why would you say that's bad?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Germans are pretty compliant, but now it seems like they're not the only ones.
Well, and because people are so stupid, the emotion of all of this, everything that has been a major topic of contention over the last couple of years, whether it was George Floyd, whether it was COVID and all of the insanity that went around that with the vaccines and the masks and all of that, whether it was anything to do with Trump, this is all the January 6th thing, all about emotion. None of it's about facts. None of it's about reality. It's about, those people bad and we must stop them. Even though, they put on the show with the January 6th thing and it's like, well, what do you got? Where's the evidence? We don't have any of that.
Oh, it's basically thank God for Nancy Pelosi single-handedly stopping that insurrection.
Oh,
because it appeared that the whole government was going to topple, and that the Southern rednecks are just trying to have Civil War II happening.
Well, it's the same thing with the Trumpers who believe that there was so much, so many shenanigans, so much illegal things going on around the elections with the integrity of the elections. You still have to be able to prove it. Thinking it is not enough. You need to get evidence. And that's something that people just don't do anymore. It's all just like, well, no, I believe it, so that's enough. And it's like, no, it's not. You actually have to get evidence.
If all it takes for somebody to change their gender is to believe they are a different gender, then yeah.
Again, exactly. That's part of the insanity. Well, no, you could just say it. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that enough? It should be enough.
Hey, man, don't be a denier.
There was a poll that allegedly, I forget who did the poll, but it was 1,200 journalists. And I don't know, again, where they went to get this information, how you polled just journalists, because if it's online or something, people can lie, whether they sent out emails or whatever. But it was like 80-something% of journalists said that we have a problem with fake news in this country. And it's like, do you mean the stuff you do? Or, because I don't look at anything going on on social media as fake news.
Do you not know the definition of fake news?
What is the actual
fake news?
Anything they don't like?
News is anything that's on the podcast or typed by a person who is living in the basement.
Oh, so they're above the fray. What they're doing is okay. But if you have a podcast,
what they're doing is called news. What you're doing is called fake news.
Oh, I get it now.
Okay, good. Because I thought I'd have to get you re-educated
by questioning. How dare you? How dare you question? I don't. It's insanity, really. It is insanity. That
So my question is this: have we gotten to a point of no return? Because I'm certainly starting to feel that way.
I've thought that a few times, and then things have come back, but not recently. I don't know if there is is there a test? Is there a canary in the coal mine? Is there something that once this happens, there really is no going back? I think there's always.
Well, I was watching a video yesterday.
Well, no, YouTube, no doubt.
I know on YouTube, right? Of these two British dudes that have a podcast thing, video cast, whatever. And I forget what they're called, but I'm sure everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, two British dudes. Those are the guys.
Costa or something. He's actually Russian or Ukrainian or something. And the other guy looks like a typical British homosexual. So from that description, with the glasses and everything, you guys should know exactly who I'm talking about. But they have a pretty good show. And they had a lesbian on. And this is a New York lesbian who apparently has a podcast. And
that's so rare.
She was talking about, I know, right? She's talking about the insanity of the current Rainbow Coalition movement, where she is being harassed for not being a proper LGBTQ alphabet person. And the guy's like, well, what are they saying? Well, I'd say, well, because I don't want to suck a dick.
This is a criteria now, or what?
Yeah. So apparently, because transgender women are women, the expectation is that if you're a lesbian, then, and the transgender women are women, and you like women, then you ought to be going out with transgender women, and because they have a penis instead of a clitoris, well, you ought to be sucking their penis as a lesbian.
Well,
as a proper good lesbian should.
Yeah, if you're going to...
Can you imagine the insanity of where we've gotten to it? So this lesbian is like, yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of this whole bullshit. I was like, I'm just a lesbian. Fuck all the other letters.
Yeah. That is...
yeah, I'm with her right there.
The insanity is that you're never far enough. The insanity is that these folks that are quite often in that group that say they want nothing more than just be allowed their way of life without people harassing them, without people belittling them, are the same ones you see belittling anybody with religious belief. So it's like, once you do that, fuck off. You've lost any moral high ground. You've lost any argument you could possibly have. The whole, I just want to live the way I want to live.
It's just the opiate of the people.
Uh-huh. This is the kind of stuff, though, that's absolutely insane. It's like, well, you obviously don't see the irony that, if you have a religious sect that just wants to do what they want to do and they're not bothering you, but no, you've got to belittle them because they don't believe what you do. It's like, it's the same fucking thing. It really is.
Yeah.
It's
and the amount of people willing to go into physical violence in defense of equality, quote unquote, is insane as well. And I was watching some more of these videos that this guy who was a college professor and now does YouTube videos does. And he basically goes to college campuses and then takes a topic that is somewhat controversial,
which they all are today,
and then asks for like our well, I can't even think of a good one, but he had a number of them, and the vitriol that is on the self-righteous side of these college students who will tell you without asking you anything, will call you a cis white male, and how all the evils of the world are your fault, and how you're in control of society, but they will shout you down and want to massacre you.
Right.
For the good of
society.
For the good of society, but really the argument being it's for inclusiveness. Like they're trying to promote inclusiveness, and the best way to do that is to shut you up.
Exactly. By excluding you.
Mm-hmm.
Exclusion is the best form of inclusion.
It really is.
Don't you know?
That's absolutely
sharing
right.
is caring.
Then
hate is love. Love is hate.
Well, that is very true. Love is hate, actually. But yes.
Now, Ambitious Boosts, Gene, that was beautiful. Thank you for the transgender lesbian cocksucker explanation. So, Ambitious enjoyed that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you know who I'm talking about the two British dudes, their show's called like
Two British guys on YouTube.
Words. It's like Trent.
Are there only two British guys on YouTube?
That's not really a play on words.
NetNet also
But
boosted
they are
that.
on
The show is
YouTube.
awesome.
Which show?
This show. We have live boostograms.
You must be thinking of a different show.
Could be listening to something
I'm
else,
pretty
possibly.
sure
This is called
You should
Gene.
ask him what he's listening to, and then we can listen to that as well while we're doing this show.
We can pipe them in, like the Russian music on the last show. We could just pipe it in.
That is pretty awesome music, though.
Everybody can enjoy that. But this is the insanity of the world that we're living in, is that these groups that are out there, and there was another story I think we talked about last week on the group called Jane's Revenge that is a far left, very pro-abortion group that's now starting to firebomb places. There was one in New York.
Abortion clinics?
Right. You know, well, not the abortion clinics, but if you dare have like a clinic that is pro-life, that would give you the option that maybe, adoption's okay. I mean, you're not left enough then. If you're one of these places that like, okay, well, if you come in. What?
Yeah.
So then
No, I was just thinking if you're not left enough. So if you're an abortion clinic that does abortions, but also delivers babies, or what?
You're right. You also give the women the option that, hey, you could also go you could still go the adoption route. They're not just an abortion clinic, so they'll do it if that's what you want, but that's not enough. And that's what was firebombed.
I mean, they don't just do it, as a matter of fact, just for everybody. Okay. Just for the audience that wanted to. The British show with the Russian and the gay guy is called Trigonometry. Trigger.
Okay,
Nome.
That is pretty good.
Try.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a cute play on the words. And this particular episode is called Trans Ideology is the New Homophobia.
Probably about right. Because if you don't bow down completely, which is always where this started really is, where at least where I start noticing it was with the folks that were on the religious right that would be like, well, our religion says that homosexuality is wrong, but we still embrace homosexuals. It's what? Hate the sin, love the sinner. And we're attacked for being hateful about that because it's like, well, no, you can't say that what we're doing is wrong. It's like, it's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I don't give a shit what people do. Honestly,
no, I don't either. As long as it's not happening in my
enjoyment, and things.
I don't have to see it if I don't have to.
As long as as everybody is participating willingly, I really don't care.
Yeah, do what you want to do.
In fact, I might want to watch, depending on who it is.
Depending on who it is, you might pay not to watch.
I'm just saying, I've been known to watch a lesbian video or two. But anyway.
You might pay not to watch if Gene was involved. Just saying.
Well, then get off of my
the OnlyFans, right? What's the opposite of OnlyFans? Totally not fans?
Only haters?
Only haters. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
That would be that's a great website. Yeah. Only haters.
That's
where you pay money to not watch somebody.
Hey, I'm in. I'm into this
I think
concept.
That's so funny. It might actually work.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, right. That might be a real thing people are willing to do.
Only trolls. Yeah, I mean, we got that already. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Only trolls.
Yeah.
There's too much of that happening anyway.
Yeah, but
so I heard you did a podcast with your old podcasting partner.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that last week?
No.
You sure?
How'd that go? I'm pretty sure.
We did talk about it. I mean,
you have so many co-hosts, you don't even remember.
No, we did, because you and I talked about that last week, but it was
no, we didn't, but okay.
I guarantee you we go to the last Unrelenting, which I can now provide a transcript. Well, not yet, but I did transcripts on a few shows yesterday. I did the last 3 Random Thought shows. I did the Grumpy Old Ben's reunion show because I wanted to see what a big file with multiple people talking would go to. And they even recognized that the little cold open with Curry and Dvorak were a different voice, although they didn't really differentiate those. And they realized.
Well, what are you using for the thing? What are you using to do that?
Adobe. It's built into Adobe. It's free with the Adobe suite.
Adobe is a company. What does the company Adobe have built in?
The company, which the only weird thing is it's not built into the audio software, which is Adobe Audition, but it's built into Adobe Premiere. So all you have to do is open up Premiere, drag in your audio file, and click Make Transcript, and it will. And then you can convert that transcript, which you can convert. You can take that transcript and just bring that out as just paragraph by paragraph text. But then you can also just hit one more button and it will convert it to a subtitle file, which means when it goes into, it's an SRT file, which when you open that up in the podcast apps that will allow it, the text scrolls on the app as it's being said on the audio. So it's really nice. And it just damn well works. I noticed it spells O'Neill differently, which is a little bit weird. That it's either Oneal or one time it was Oneil, and it spells Darren differently each time, which is like you would think if you have a name built into your, that you would keep it the same that way. Right, because if I see it the first time, you just do a search and replace.
I'm pretty much ready to drop Descript, because Descript
it's still having the recording problems
for like a year.
Yeah.
It's still having the recording problems, and apparently I'm the only one reporting those problems, so whatever.
So like you're doing way too long of things. We like 3 minutes.
It's a monthly fee. It's not like it's a one-time purchase to have Descript. And the main reason I started using Descript was because it was pretty good at doing the transcripts. And I also will do, the fake voice thing.
Right. That would be the only thing. Now, have you ever used that in reality?
That's a very good question, because I've used it twice in a year. So not enough to justify it. And I could have just re-recorded instead of using the fake voice.
Right. You could have re-recorded just one sentence.
The amount of time that it took me to train the voice to sound like me was significantly longer in duration than the amount of fixes that I had the voice do.
Now, the question for me would be, for the fixes that you had to do, did it sound realistic, or did you go, that didn't quite sound right?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. It sounded fine. Because it gets the not just the pace or the tone, but it gets sort of you
get your cadence,
the excitement level correct.
Right, because otherwise that would be like...
Yeah, all that stuff is good.
It would be hilarious. Otherwise it'd be like...
They do a pretty good job with it. But I think really where the advantage of that would be is if you have a separate editor / producer for a show and the talent is not available to redo something.
Right.
And in that case, you could fix things without the person being available. I get that. That's cool. They've also been predominantly working on video features for the last year rather than audio. There's not been a whole lot of change with audio, but they've added a whole bunch of video stuff.
Yeah, but if the audio's not working, what good is that?
I think I'm going to dump them. And I do have an Adobe, I was going to say prescription. I have a subscription with Adobe. And the Adobe subscription is only $5 a month more for the entire Adobe package than just Descript.
Yeah, and you get a lot more.
So, yeah. You get a lot more, especially at the discount rate.
Why? That's what I have is the student and teacher rate. But somebody on No Agenda Social, I'm sorry, I forget who it was like, oh, well, Adobe is pro-censorship. And I'm like, I've never seen this. Where are you getting this from? And they sent me just a link to another website that wasn't an article about this. It's like, I don't know. I did searching through a few different search engines for Adobe and censorship, and
everybody's pro-censorship.
Yeah, I guess.
Can you literally use your computer? Google is pro-censorship. So you can't have Android phones. You can't use Google for maps or searches or anything. Apple is pro-censorship.
So you better get rid of all those devices.
Any Apple products. So get rid of all your Google products, all your Apple products. I mean, you better be running Linux and using only open source if you want to not be for... And even plenty of open source
Yeah, the people
including the guys that built the software that No Agenda Social is running on,
right,
are pro-censorship.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Oh, yeah, the Mastodon people, big time, really pro-censorship.
Big time.
So you're right. The guy's messaging me on a platform that's pro-censorship. That was created by pro-censorship people.
Yeah.
Damn. But I just want software that works.
Yeah, I think right now that this is a systemic issue. Unlike racism, this is an actual systemic issue, is that we have way too many people that think censorship is a good thing.
Yes. Rather than let somebody say whatever crazy thing they want, and then we tell them or you why they're wrong. It's pretty easy. But I was really impressed when, like a 45-minute episode of Random Thoughts. I mean, it was only about 5 minutes for it to generate the transcript, which I didn't think was bad. And it was doing it locally, because I was wondering if this was going to be a mothership thing, like when all of the Apple stuff started, when it was like, oh, when you could ask the Siri a question, it's like, well, they were just taking the MP3 or whatever audio file it was, sending that to Apple, and then they were doing the hard work of transcribing that on their end. My CPU went to like 50% when it was working on the transcript. So it's doing it locally, which is kind of cool. And it was maybe 20 minutes. It was for like a 2-hour plus episode of Grumpy Old Ben's that was like 20 minutes to get a pretty decent transcript.
Wait, Adobe was taking 20 minutes? That's crazy. That's a long time.
For the 2 hours plus for it to take the audio and then to transcribe that.
I would have figured it'd take like 5 minutes.
It's doing it locally,
well, you probably have a slow computer.
No, this is less than a year old, man.
Well, this thing's got a year old from Walmart.
It's got 64 gig of RAM. Let me see. What is
64 gig of RAM? What the hell do you need 64 gig of RAM? You don't play video games.
Dude, I create audio content and video content.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know how much audio 64 gig of RAM holds?
It's a lot. You could hold a lot of MP3s in there.
Yeah. Thousands of hours.
But I like me the FLAC. What is...
Even that doesn't matter. FLAC is 150 kilobits. I mean, that's still nothing.
Let's see here. What this was was it an i9? I'm trying to remember what was in this thing.
i9? Jesus Christ. What? Seriously. You don't play games.
No, I don't.
What do you need a machine like that for?
Because I like fast.
And your i9 machine took that long to process 2 hours.
Let's see. I'm sorry. It's a Core i7 10700 CPU running at 2.9 gigahertz.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty slow then.
I need an i9 then, is what you're saying. So I can...
No, you don't need an i9.
I wanted to be able to do the transcripts in like real time. Well, no, that would be that's still way faster than real time. I needed to do
everything can do real time transcripts. Yeah, that's not a problem.
We wanted to do like 2 hours and like 13 seconds or less.
Can it not do real time transcripts? Like, can you not just have it running while you're recording the episode and have it transcribed?
I don't believe so for that.
You can only drop an audio file into it to have it transcribed?
I believe so, yes. Because it's in the video creation program. But that means they're close, which means if Adobe figures out a way to make this even more useful to do...
If Adobe realizes that there's at least one person who uses their software that makes it, a podcast, that would be useful for them to add.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is...
So speaking of this topic, I talked to Zencaster the other day.
Oh, we used to love using Zencaster.
Kind of bitched him out. Oh, I like Zencaster a lot. I've actually fully switched to it for the other podcast for Sir Gene Speaks.
For recording the multiple tracks, you have no problem at all with drifting or anything. Which means I may try it again.
The only issue you have, the only downside, if you will, is that since you're not processing the other track, it's just being recorded by them. It works great if everybody has gates on their own side and process their own voice to be whatever they want it to sound like.
Right, because otherwise
it's not going to work as good like at this call we're on right now, where I'm using a laptop instead of my normal rig, and I'm using cheapy, $200 headphones. So that's not going to be nearly as good for that purpose, because you're going to need to either use their paid service to process or something else. But I don't know. I mean, given that both Ben and I have decent audio interfaces on our ends, I think it's actually working out pretty good. So I'm gonna, I think, dump Descript. It's had its run for about 2 years now, and I haven't really used it much for the last half a year.
With the audio recording, was Descript doing any processing, or was that just a straight recording as well?
Descript, it is doing audio processing, actually. Yeah. So they have 2 different levels of audio processing that they do. They do some manually controlled processing, and then they also have a kind of a sweetening option which you can kick in, and the sweetening option does
I love
a multitude. It's actually really good. What it does is it does a post. Well, it is actually a run after you hit stop. So it is post process, but automatic post process, where it'll go through, it'll gate, it'll compress, it'll expand,
it'll oral excite with big
normalize. Bottom. It will not excite with big bottom, but it will do a great job of removing background noise, and not just like gating it, but actually interpolating it and removing it, so you don't even hear it when you're talking.
Right, which the Adobe
so that
suite
part of it is
really
pretty
good for that too.
But again, all these things are great if you have a very basic hardware setup. Like if you are recording with just little headphones that come with your phone or something, then using Descript is kind of an all-in-one solution, as long as your show doesn't run longer than 90 minutes, because that's when it stops.
Then they're like, we're done with you.
And it has nothing to do with memory. It doesn't have anything to do with any of this stuff, but they couldn't come up with a way to fix mine. And I've reinstalled it. I've blown away all the settings. Same end result. Their best guess is it's the Motu's fault.
Oh, of course.
And right. I'm like, guys, the Motu is a professional product, and no other software has this issue with it.
Yeah, I do things with the Motu that would make them cry. You could pull in multiple audio sources, mix them.
Unfortunately, while I do think the product is a neat product, and I've had good use of it, it generates fairly accurate transcripts, and it is great for a producer who is not on the show to edit the show, because you can literally edit it by typing in or deleting words or copying and pasting sentences to move them around, and it'll take care of moving all the audio.
Now
it has the so let me finish real quick. So it also has the filtration of garbage words like duplicate words. It can automatically remove duplicate words from your stuff. So it does have a lot of features, but unfortunately, I just am not using it because of its 90-minute limit.
Well, the garbage words are huge because Zencastr, Clean Feed, none of those have anything like that.
No.
In order to go in and edit
processing the audio. Yeah.
The Zencastr has a processing, I believe. They do the post-processing where they'll mix and level everything.
It's a little on the expensive side. Right. You have to pay for it separately. And I don't think I did it once just to test it, and it didn't sound as good as the post on Descript to me.
No, well, it certainly didn't sound as good as what I pull out of the multi-track that I have, because I have all the settings, and it's set it and forget it for everybody's voice. And there's, when you're dealing with the same people all the time, it's easier. But I run that kind of filtering even through the post-processing for all shows, which is, if somebody's in a noisy environment, there are really good noise removing plugins that are available that, as you said, you can really tweak, which some of these noise removers, it sounds like you're underwater. The good ones, you'll be able to tweak just the frequency range where the noise is coming from, and it'll do a really good job. Although the more I notice what is out there on doing air quotes professional clips, from pulling clips for shows from major news networks, any major network stuff, that you're hearing now, like we're hearing from you today more than ever because you're on the headset and like you said, in the kitchen, the reverb and that kind of stuff is common now from professional outlets, which is really, it's annoying. That's how we started before the show, was that this week, Bill O'Reilly, who I like to watch, I know some people hate him, but when he's in his alternate location,
you're literally the only one.
No, he's got a nice amount of, he's on multiple radio stations now, like 100 and something radio stations carry this show every day. But so there's more than one or two, but when he's in his alternate location, rather than having a lav mic on, he's using a boom mic, no doubt, because you hear like you're sounding today is how he sounds when he's in the alternate location. And I'm like, well, why? Time. Yeah.
You mean like great.
Right.
Sounds great.
Oh, yeah. It sounded fantastic. Yeah. And all I'm thinking, I should email the dude, because it's like you need a $300 Zoom recorder, plug your lav into it, and then just send that audio to whoever is processing this for him, because I know he's not. But it's like you can provide.
Obviously.
Right. I mean, he's a Luddite. There's no question about it when it comes to tech. But it's like it wouldn't be that hard to record yourself using a lav plugged into a Zoom little portable recorder and just send that file with, and you'll have much better sounding audio. And it annoys me when the audio sucks. But as I say, I'm noticing this more and more from professional outlets that it's like the audio just does not sound good. And people are willing to accept it. I don't know why. Because it annoys me, which I guess.
So I think I've sent probably a dozen mics to people who I've been annoyed by the way they sound.
Wait, is this, so if you listen, this is Gene, if you like a podcast and you like the content, but it sounds like crap, you're like, here, I'm going to send you a Mo2 and a Electro Voice. And
well, I wasn't speaking of podcasts. I was speaking of people, but yeah.
Oh, well, how do you know what people are you talking about?
Well, people I'm talking to either for work or for people I talk to when I'm playing video games or whatever. It just people that are using mics when they sound like shit. I'm like, dude, you sound like shit. What's your address?
Right. What do you send them? Because my microphone game is going to get horrible in the next few shows just to see what I get from Gene. Be like, hi, Gene, how you doing? Is everything good?
Yeah. Anything. You sound fine. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. So you want to get something, so you want to sound horrible. Okay.
Right.
So there, I can send you a link. It's a fairly reasonably priced mic that I found on Amazon through some testing that actually does a good job of isolating the speaker. So they sound a lot less reverby, and they don't sound like they're located 2 rooms away from the microphone like they do if they're using the built-in mic on a computer.
Yes. Yeah. No Yeti snowball needed.
So here, I don't think there's any real processing going on. You definitely don't want to get a Yeti mic. Most of them suck, except for the really expensive ones. But they're good at focused pickup, so that you're mostly picking up the sound coming directly from the person, and then their body is blocking the outside sounds with something very soft and flabby.
Makes sense for the people you'd be sending them to.
Yeah.
What is there a brand on this?
Yeah,
mic?
I mean, I'm not sending them to like Beach Bodies.
You're not sending them to Maxim Hot Girls, and is there a brand on this mic? Do you know?
There is. I can't remember what it is.
Because it is always nice.
I can send you a link.
There was a
it is, and I'm happy to share. It's the best cheap mic I found, and by cheap I mean like $50.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, there's a Samson that seems to be a lot of people like the Q09 or QU9 or something. People complain though that it's very low in the gain, but there was a company, I think it was LYX Pro, that made a dynamic microphone. And I say made a dynamic microphone. I know the reality is they had somebody in China make a run of microphones, and they sold these things for like $39. And it was the first one.
Wasn't JCD going to do that or something?
Maybe. But this was the first microphone that Bemrose used on Grumpy Old Ben's. It was the one Sir Matthew used for his 4-episode podcast, Maps with Matt. And it sounded absolutely great. And after I recommended it to like 3 people, it's just stopped being made. And it was like, this thing was really...
Well, that often is the case.
And it was just a cheap little USB microphone, but it worked really well, and it sounded really nice. Which is why it had to die, I guess.
Well, that would make some sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, I would have said to just keep sending people in. Anybody that said, I want to start podcasting, and be like, well, since you don't want to most people don't want to go have to buy an audio interface like the Mo2 and hook that up and then buy an XLR microphone and buy all the other stuff. They just want to get started with the USB mic. And that is the easier way to go, but it's hard to find something that sounds decent in the USB category.
Yeah, and this thing for the price point is very good. Last Christmas, to my guys that I game with for my World of Warship competitive team, I just told everybody, if you want a
competitive team, is there?
Well, you know, I'm a pro gamer. I mean, you knew that.
I mean, way back in your youth. I mean, you're still ranked.
Well,
here?
I mean,
are you in the money?
I am.
You getting the
I'm
booth
in the
babes?
League.
Yeah. No, the senior league. Okay.
I'm in this. Yes, I'm in the senior league. We're doing mediocrely. That's the best way to phrase it.
Well, at least you're having fun.
We are having fun. We were mid-tier generally in the competitive clan battles, and then
you're in the clan now too?
Last place. Yeah. I just got back from we had a big clan meetup here in Texas.
Yeah. I can imagine that goes on a lot around.
No, there's a funny story about that too. So
when making reservations for something, you want to be very specific.
That's exactly right. So there was I was not at this particular event, but apparently, so I'm in the Texas clan. And
okay, there's an ISO right there.
right, exactly. So there was a few people that were in Dallas, and they were going to meet up at a restaurant. And then when the first guy's making reservations, he, said, so you got a group, it's like, what name do you want? And they say, oh, well, let's see. People don't really necessarily know each other's names very well because we don't really, use our real names when we talk to each other. But put it under Texas Clan.
Sounds like a terrorist group already. We don't talk to each other in voice. We don't really use our real names.
So you could just imagine the eye rolling that was happening from the person getting the reservation down. Okay, Texas Clan for 3 p.m. Got it.
You'll notice,
and then there's somebody else white. Was at the. Yeah, exactly. There was a group that was meeting up at the Battleship Texas out in Houston there, and same kind of situation is that. One of the guys that was kind of an event for World of Warships people, and there's other people other than just this clan there. But one of the guys like is, hey, everybody in the Texas clan, let's meet up downstairs. It's like you gotta, for the tourists out there that are not from around here, yonder parts, that's gotta sound very retro.
You might want to be a little more specific that you're talking about a video game.
Well, right. I mean, that's the thing is because they're so used to just referring to it as the Texas clan because there's all kinds of different clans in the game, and clan is just another word like guild,
right?
It's repurposing a word that had the real world meaning to something that's specific, a group of old dudes playing video games.
Which, I mean, that's kind of the same group.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, you'd be surprised, but maybe you wouldn't. But it really is a bunch of old dudes. I think the average age is probably about 65.
Damn. So
when I say seniors league, I really mean seniors league. Yeah. I mean, I'm not one of the younger whippersnappers in their 60s, but it's the whole group. I think our youngest guy is 40.
Who's doing tech support?
I don't know how he got in. We have actually one of the guys who's 79 is a tech support guy for the group.
Nice.
Yeah, he builds PCs for a living.
Well, there you go.
In his spare time. Yeah.
When he's not heading the clan.
When he's not heading the guy who's heading the clan is actually he does Renaissance fairs. He's a big sci-fi and fantasy guy, so he really enjoys the going out to the fairs. And in fact, I have a leather mask.
That I believe.
I have a leather mask that he made. Yeah, he's a leather worker. And when the coof was full blown, I had him make me a kind of a black leather mask. Yeah, kind of a Hannibal looking mask, but really nice looking. So it was white kid leather inside and really dark on the outside, black kind of looking.
Bedazzled at all with like your initials or anything?
No, not at all bedazzled, but it did have little anchor symbols on it for our clan.
That may be going just one step too far. And I've never been to a Renaissance fair.
I don't see.
I like the idea.
I thought you were going to say I've never been to a clan meeting.
Well, that either. I like the idea of the big turkey legs and wenches and beer.
Yeah, those are great.
But,
both of those, in fact.
You start losing me, though, with the outside in the heat without air conditioning. So,
whatever. Not a problem. In fact, I need to check when the next Ren Fair is going to be out here in Texas. We have 3 of them here because we have the population density to support it. So there's an Austin one, which is about 45 minutes out. There's a Houston one, about 2 hours out. And there's a Dallas-Fort Worth one that's about 2.5 hours out.
How do I apply for the position of king?
Of them to go to.
That's what I want to know. How do I be king?
Well, if you want to be king, you need to be able to hold your liquor first and foremost, because the king's mostly walking around drinking.
Oh, well, that sounds perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Although I'm not really big into the mead.
The other part is there's oh, well, fuck you then.
Or just whiskey is where I would.
You're no king. You're no king if you don't drink the mead.
I'd rather drink the whiskey.
The mead's awesome.
It may be.
Well, you can't drink whiskey like you can drink mead.
Well, that's true. You can, but there's a
not for long.
Right, there is a limited amount you can do.
Yep. And yeah, well, I told you. Maybe I did tell you. I got married at the Ren Fair.
I did not know this. Which wife was this? 1, 3, or 7?
Yeah, exactly.
All
one
3.
Of them.
Yes.
And it was quite fun. I thought it was quite enjoyable. Sat with the king and queen and everything. We were carted around by a guy pulling a cart.
Well, I would
throughout the events.
Sense. Yeah.
Yeah, part of the parade, in the event.
Oh, so you have been part of a parade.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, so I was wearing a kilt. I was fully garbed out.
But your wife wasn't?
No, she was not wearing a kilt. She was wearing a wedding dress, which was a period wedding dress, though.
So obviously she was into it, because otherwise this would never happen.
Oh, no. God, no. She was not into it at all. She was complaining the whole time. No, this was my wedding idea.
That's not okay. That part's not a surprise.
I thought that would be fun. So I made a decision.
Well, you only get married 46 times. So
anyway, what woman wants to have the arduous task of having to plan her wedding? It's much easier to let the husband decide what's going to happen.
What woman wants the arduous task of marrying Gene? That's the real question here.
Well, hit me up. Gene at Sir Gene.
What you're looking for? You're looking for number 16. What is this? Or you're looking for a 16-year-old.
I have to peruse volunteers occasionally. So if that's a thing you're interested in.
Yeah.
Now, there are certain criteria and parameters that I'm looking for, like nobody over 23.
Yeah, I would say, what's legal in Texas? I mean, are you looking for a 16? Is that is it 18 in Texas?
I don't want to change diapers, dude.
So you're
16,
like,
please.
Between 18 and 23. That's Gene's sweet spot.
Yep.
Or is
That's
it like
a good sweet spot?
Now you're just like, no, it's only like between 20 and 23. So it's going to be a very short marriage on the plus side.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with 18 or 19.
No. I mean, I can't really argue
challenge
that.
you to find something wrong. If your memory goes back that far, that is, of course.
Gene at SirGene.com. Oh, my memory works just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is breaking down, but my memory works just fine. That's half the fun.
Well, that's good.
But we do have a few people to thank for today's show, which is confusing to me.
Yeah.
Which, because normally...
You want to jump right into that?
Yeah, normally we don't, but... And it's mainly, I think, people in your area. So are you like panhandling or maybe something out there and they're feeling bad for you? Because coming in with $50.
Honestly, these are mostly donations meant for Sir Gene Speaks, but since we don't take donations on Sir Gene Speaks, I guess they're just donating them here instead.
Oh, well, that might make sense. Jay Cotacini, $50. I think he was down in your area, so I don't know if you know Jay or not.
Sounds like he is, yeah.
If not, you should buy him a nice bottle of that scotch that you like so much. Joshua McLean.
That's like 8 times more expensive than the donation. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the way we thank the people for listening to this.
Yeah. So Josh is a repeat donator.
Yeah, $25 today.
To this. Yeah.
And he did send a note.
And he even donates directly to my show as well.
So you just like show up at your house and give you some cash, bring you some booze.
Kind of feels like it. Yeah. Because he's like, we talk probably every day now.
Bring you some barbecued ribs, whatever it is.
There you go, Josh. That's your next thing to do. Bring some barbecued ribs down.
Yeah. Ribs are good. He says, Unrelenting is my new drinking buddy. I download the show via Podcast Addict and listen after I get off of work, often 11 p.m. or midnight, with an adult beverage. And he says, I'm unrelenting with my unrelenting listening strategy. That's a good strategy. I like that strategy, Josh.
That's pretty good. More people should use that strategy. Like, the more you drink, the less it matters what we say.
And we appreciate it. And oddly enough, the next donation also from a Josh. So we have Jay, Joshua, and Josh. So there's like something weird going on with the J names today. We appreciate that. I'm guessing that means if maybe you have a K name, it's the next episode's up for you to come in.
Next episode, yes.
But Josh Mandel coming in with
all the Karens, keep that in mind.
12.34. And his note says,
nice. For
unrelenting, keep it all since Sir Gene hates donations, smiley face. So I think that means this is only for my part of unrelenting and not.
Is that how that works? Well, it's taking my time, therefore it's not for your part. Yeah, I don't hate donations. I just don't like donation segments on whether I'm listening or I'm recording. I just dislike them.
On the bright side,
if people want to donate and there's no donation segment, I'm all for that. And what was our policy when they hit, what is it, 1 million rubles? They become a oligarch?
Yes, you become an oligarch with all of the things related to such.
Actually, it was less than 1 million rubles. That was too expensive. At this point, 1 million rubles is almost $1 million. So
yeah, it was not that. It was not that. It was in the $1,000 range.
It was not that. It was in the whatever. Well, probably like 10 rubles would be.
Yes, you'll be fine. Brian Hall.
Yeah, by next week, 10 rubles. But a couple of weeks after that, 1 ruble, right in that price range.
You never know. And then on his monthly, Brian Hall with $293, and I looked it up, and this I believe was just my half of the streaming satoshis over the last week was 163,000. So that's like $35 for each of us. Even right now with the Bitcoin going down down.
Yeah.
But people are using this a little bit more. I mean, it's not a lot, but I think
should check
it's interesting.
When I used to beg for Satoshis when I first started doing Surgene.
Well, that was before anybody was doing
that
it.
Stuff. Oh, yes. I have a whole string of $0 and 0 cent donations coming in Satoshis right now.
That's beautiful. What's your
Very
wallet?
cool.
What's your wallet got right now, though? It's got to be a decent amount. If you just let them sit there.
186,586. Yeah.
That has to be
bucks.
Like from about the past week or so, if you're not dumping those things out.
So, yeah. Okay, let me switch over into Satoshi mode instead of dollars mode because that's easier to read when they're small like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a whole string of 20 and 24 SAT donations. And then I have 2 donations that are 2,375 today.
See, there you go. Those some boosts coming in.
And then yesterday I had 3,300 donations and a whole series of 62 SAT donations. And then 114 SAT donation, cheap fucker. And then the day before that, I had, holy shit, what happened here? Wait a minute. I didn't even notice this. So the day before yesterday, I had a whole series of 15,000 SAT donations coming in.
See, there you go. Some stuff comes in.
That was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that was like 180,000 sats, whatever that is.
It's all boostagramming.
I don't know what the person was smoking, but Well, Surgene is also plugged into the SAT thing, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's coming from here. It could be coming from Surgene speak.
And do you get the boostagrams? Do you get the messages?
SAT donations.
Do you get the messages, or do you?
I don't really look at them, but I'm sure they come in.
Yeah, let's see here. It was Surgene. That was the last one. Ambitious.
I do not. No, I do not. I am looking at my software. I don't think I can see the messages. So no, I'm not getting them.
There were a bunch that came.
But if you want to set if you're sending like real money, like more than 10,000 sats, hit me up through email. That's easier. Just Gene at Surgene Speaks.
On Monday.
Gene at Surgene.com.
Somebody was listening to Unrelenting on Monday, and I got a string of 50 sats. Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I mean, like 30, 40, maybe 35, 50 sat boosts without messages. But somebody was using Breeze, and they were pounding. They were pounding out those boostagrams that just said Darren O, which probably means they just wanted those to go to me. But, half goes to you because that is how our system is set up.
Yeah.
And a millennial just came in.
Yep.
With a boostagram 2001 sat. Surgene is a Russian stooge. But I don't know if that's Larry, Mo, Curly, one of those. What is, do they have the Three Stooges in Russia? Or do they renamed? Are they different, or is it still Mo, Larry, and Curly?
They just don't have them.
Just
Liberty Bull is offline. That's interesting.
But for those that want to take part, newpodcastapps.com. And if you want to support the show the old-fashioned way, unrelenting.show/donate. You'll find all of the information. And we appreciate everybody, not only for listening, for supporting. We know Uncle Joe is hurting things, but Uncle Vlad is trying to make it all better. Just wait it out. It'll be okay. We promise you. It may not be okay.
Well, the way things are going.
Yeah, may not be okay. This is a story that I guess this is finally going to court after 2 years. Are you familiar with the story of Lucas Gerhard, which was a college student in Michigan and has been on...
Okay.
He spent 83 days in jail before being transferred to house arrest, which he's been on since then. He's been unable to go to school, leave the house, or use the internet. This is all because he sent a Snapchat to a bunch of friends with a picture of an AR-15. And the message was, let me find it here because I don't want to.
I'm going to shoot all of you all.
Right. The message on it was, and I wanted to make sure I get this perfectly so people understand what this was, quote, taken this bad boy up. This oughta, OUTTA, make the snowflakes melt. And I mean snowflakes as in snow. That alongside, or on top of, in this case, I think in a Snapchat message, this sent out to a group of people has this guy doing time. 83 days in jail.
I don't get it.
For a terrorist threat.
That's insane.
Yes, this is insane.
What's the threat?
I don't know.
Threat in there I could hear.
I know. Well, that's it. That's
I'm
the point.
confused. Where's the threat here?
There is none. But that's not stopping this kid from being on house arrest for 2 years in liberal fucktard Michigan.
Wow.
I mean, this should be this should not be able to happen in the United States. It really should not, because this is absolute insanity. He is facing 20 years in prison if convicted of making a terrorist threat.
What's terrorist threat? There's literally no threat in the entire message. And I sure as hell don't see anything terrorist in there.
Well, if you listen to one of the latest random thoughts, you know about the 10-year-old that was held for 3 weeks for, messaging, texting a friend a picture of a gun and saying, excited about water day. It's...
you mean the water gun?
No, they were regular guns. But then there was also time in between those two messages. But never use fucking social media. That's what you get with this kind of stuff. And never send a picture of a gun over social media, because this is the kind of stuff. And the hilarity is this bitch that turned him in has a picture from social media of herself holding a rifle. So I don't really understand why she's not in jail then as well. But I think anybody that is halfway intelligent knows when you see a picture of a gun and you go, I bet you this is going to make those snowflakes melt. It means just because the gun's there, not because the gun's being used. I think we all understand what the term snowflake is at this point. And you're right. There is absolutely zero that any rational person would see in this. And of course, this student is like ultra conservative, has been harassed before.
Michigan.
Yeah.
I mean, they have snow in Michigan.
That they do. It's going to melt those snowflakes, baby.
Yeah.
But I guess he's been harassed continuously at this school because he's conservative, and people have put complaints in every time the police have responded. It was like it was unfounded. But because of that, he's got a record because, the police have been called. It's like, yeah, because the fucking moron leftist assholes that are in his school with him don't like him. I guess at one point he even went to do a class speech, whatever it was, presentation, where he wore a sheriff's uniform because he does something with the local sheriff or whatnot. And people were all triggered by that because he had a bag with him. And then, of course, the police were called and there was nothing in the bag.
Is this guy's name Kyle Rittenhouse?
No, but it maybe could be. It's along those lines. His name's Lucas Gerhard, Gerhard. And this was something I had not heard of. And the fact that this kid's been under house arrest for 2 years, this is absolute insanity. And people
That's insane.
Yeah, they need to know about this. And two, something has to be done on all of this bullshit where it's like, you texted a picture of a gun. You Snapchatted a picture of a gun. Now we're going to look at this as a terrorist threat. It's like, no, that's not what the language meant. I bet you this is really going to make those snowflakes melt. It's like, we know what that means. Snowflakes, even seeing a gun would make them melt. You're not threatening to use the gun.
Well, are you threatening somebody? I just heard you threaten somebody.
Which part? All of it?
The part you just said.
The whole show, baby. Something needs to be done to bring sanity
Sounds like
back.
a threat. Man, you better be careful, man. Somebody might put you in prison.
Protect the rights of people.
You might have something go on your permanent record.
Yeah, because the probable cause affidavit from the 91st District Court noted Gerhard's, quote, extreme political views as being part of the reason his dorm room was searched. Although nothing illegal was found in the search, it eventually led to his arrest. His extreme political views were...
This is dorm room, so this is a college student? I thought you were talking about a high school kid.
No, college. They came in.
So an adult...
Yes.
A a male over 18 years of age,
Yes.
who sent a photo of a gun,
Yes, that he legally owned.
is been sentenced for 2 years
House arrest for 2 years.
and will never own another gun again.
Did 83
because
days
now
in
he's
jail.
got a record.
Yeah, did 83 days in jail before the house arrest. NetNet, who lives in Michigan, says it is getting zero press in Michigan. So if you live in Michigan, you may want to tell a friend about this.
If you live in Michigan, don't live in Michigan.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
I know.
Look, there's been Tim Pool's been talking about this a lot amongst other people, but I know how much you like Tim Pool.
I do love Tim.
And
I just don't have time
O'Reilly's been talking about it.
If Tim Pool was Bill O'Reilly and he did 40 minutes a day, 4 days a week, I would listen to everything. But I am
well,
odd.
he does have one of his channels where he does 40 minutes a day every day.
I know, but I'm a completist.
But then
I have
he's
a
got
big
two other channels.
I have like an ADHD problem, which is really affects me in music too, because if I get like one album from an artist I like, I'm searching for everything they've ever done. So it's
Here's
better.
The bottom line, people.
It's better.
You can't simply be who you are and live in a state where the majority of the population is not like you.
Correct. This exactly.
We've gotten to that place now to where you physically need to be in proximity with people who think like you, or you will be seen as an enemy. And that has absolutely been moving in that direction. I think we're very much there at this point, where it is not optional to move. It's not like, well, we always like Colorado because we like the mountains and the snow. It's like, yeah, well, too bad. You're not allowed to live in Colorado unless you think like most of the people in Colorado. And it's not just smoking pot. It's all the other liberal bullshit propaganda that they like out there.
Yeah.
So
if you think differently, they will attack you.
People, you have to, and this is, honestly, this is more of what it used to be, right? We're actually returning back to what it was like shortly after the founding of this country, when the states were really small countries of their own, and we didn't have a huge federal government bureaucracy that was trying to standardize everything. So this is really federalism, where each state has a population that may be in agreement with each other, but at full disagreement with a state just across the border. So this is not a new concept, but it's something we haven't had to live through because things have been a lot more controlled by the federal government. But this is coming. It's not like where you live has nothing to do with what kind of climate you like or what your preference is for, for the outdoor activities or anything else. Where you live is primarily, or should be, unless you want to get put in jail, a choice between people who believe the same things you do and people who see you as the enemy and do not at all, pretend that it's otherwise, because that's exactly what it is. When you live in a liberal state and you yourself have more conservative thoughts, you are absolutely seen as the enemy. Why would you want to put yourself in that position?
Well, it's much more granular, especially on a college campus.
Why would you want to go move to a theocracy like Iran if you're homosexual?
Well, yeah, you probably wouldn't. But where do conservatives
move to California if you're not an idiot?
And where do conservative kids go to college in America? That's a good question.
They don't.
Right.
Conservative kids don't go to college. College has no benefit whatsoever. Elon Musk has talked about this extensively, that he would actually rather hire somebody without a college degree than with a college degree. And this is the guy that is building the rockets to take us to Mars.
Yeah. Now, big league.
It's not about going to college. It's about gaining knowledge.
Big
and
league
those two
politics
things are completely unrelated.
Has been covering this, and they say, quote, one crucial aspect of the case is the repressive campus atmosphere that resulted in Gerhard being profiled as a potential threat. This set the stage for a Snapchat post of the so-called assault rifle, allowed them to use law enforcement to strike back against a conservative rabble rouser who campus officials wanted out of their hair and it goes on. But that's basically just echoing exactly what you said: is don't live amongst them, because you are going to be the enemy, and they will attack, and they will make your life hell.
Absolutely.
But I'm wishing this kid well, because this is just unbelievable that this is happening in the United States, that you send a picture of a gun on a social media.
Well, we are
platform.
The USSA. Yeah, the United Socialist States of America.
There is more freedom in Mother Russia.
There is. Right now there is. Guaranteed.
How are we going to fix all these problems, Gene?
Well, that goes back to a topic I brought up earlier, which is, have we gone beyond being able to fix it? At this point, is it just a matter of doing some cleanup before the implosion?
Stories like this make me think we're teetering on that edge.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people, when hearing this story, are going to be like, that can't possibly be. There's no threat there. What do you mean this has been 2 years of the kid's life? It's insane.
Yeah, it is insane. No, he's literally a prisoner of the state of Michigan. Why would you want to voluntarily be in prison? Because that's what people that live there that don't espouse liberal views are. They're living in prison.
It is insane. Hey, that's why you listen to this show, because we'll let you know about the insanity.
Well, we used to do, I don't know that we do a whole lot anymore. Honestly, I've listened to one of our earlier broadcasts, and we were a lot more topical, a lot more political, and a lot more techie. And lately, we're just talking about food and air conditioners and shit no one gives a shit about.
Air conditioning is tech when tech is turning it off. Let us know what you want to hear about. Just boostagram us, and we'll talk about it. But do it before the show so we can be prepared.
Dude, yes, boostagram before the show so we know what to talk about. Because otherwise, we're going to talk about, super fun topics like air conditioning repair.
I mean, there's a lot of tech out there. There's a lot of politics out there. I like the open-ended format. But hey, if people are wanting to hear us talk about certain stuff,
well,
it can steer the ship.
Tech segment.
Steer it for us.
You'd mentioned this earlier, but I don't know if it was on the official recording. My computer died 2 days ago.
Yes, we talked about that when you disappeared.
No, did you? Well, that's nice. And the whole computer didn't die, but the boot SSD, an M2 SSD, and it's only a year old, managed to die.
Yeah, it's like your computer had Alzheimer's and boom, don't remember nothing.
This is not supposed to happen. Yes, SSDs have a limited lifespan. I'm well aware of that, but that is counted in 5 to 10 years minimum. This thing is under a year old, so definitely more of a defect situation.
And no warning signs, because usually they'll give you a warning like, oh, your drive is not performing. Yeah, there's really no warning
on this thing. It just didn't boot all of a sudden. And the problem, of course, is while most of my data is in the cloud, so I don't really mind.
Safe on your servers in Moscow?
The preference files to a lot of apps are going to get lost as a result of this, because I have to reinstall Windows on a new SSD.
Ooh, Windows 11.
Which I'm waiting on, incidentally. No, I'm not putting Windows 11. Windows 10. Windows 11 sucks. So that's an issue. Amazingly, my computer was still under warranty by about 8 days. So I'm going to get a free replacement for this thing.
Ooh.
But that'll take a week plus.
Well, they're just going to send you a free drive, and you still have the hassle. So at least.
Well, they're going to send me a drive after I ship them the old one.
I love that. What size SSD was it?
It's a terabyte.
Which, those have gotten pretty cheap now, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's all that expensive. The one that I ordered to put in, which should be here today, I just got one on Amazon. That's 2 terabyte one. That one's one of the fast ones.
Is it an M2 or a regular old drive?
Yeah, they're M2. Yeah.
Yeah, those really shouldn't fail.
No, they really shouldn't. There's no moving parts. There's nothing there. And this was the one that came pre-installed, so there should be no issues with heat or any other issues, because the guys that built the computer should have taken into account all that situation for it. So
I don't know. I'm a little frustrated at it. I'm not a super happy camper, so I ordered some stuff directly so I don't have to wait.
Do you
and
know?
then once I get this replaced, I guess I'll have a spare one.
Do you know
then
what
I'll
brand?
have a spare SSD.
What brand that blew out?
It was either an ADATA or a yeah, it's probably an ADATA. Oh,
Gotcha.
It could be a Western Digital, but I can't. I don't think it's a Western Digital.
I'm
Digital.
pretty sure the one in my Dell is a Samsung, and the 1 terabyte Samsung is $100 now. So these things have gotten way cheaper. That is one thing I'd like to upgrade on this baby is to go with my 64 gig of RAM. That's the hardest thing in order to now switch these things out. Well, not really. You just have to connect another drive and mirror it, but it's weird. It's like it's not a drive, it's just a little stick now.
It's a memory stick thing, yeah.
Yeah. But we can talk about more tech.
So that's a tech thing. The other thing is, I don't know if you saw, because you don't give a shit about this stuff, but Apple announced their next MacBook Air, which I don't think it's available yet. Should be available end of the month or next month. I don't know. They always pre-announce these things. So that will have the M2 chip. So I'm definitely ordering that.
They still haven't announced a new, the little one, the Mac Mini.
Mini? Nope.
They still want you to buy the Studio, which is available at Costco now.
They do want you to buy Studio. Yeah. Oh, is it really? That's funny. Yeah. So I've got the Mac. I got the M1 Mac Mini, which is still sitting in the box. I haven't set it up yet. I've had it for like a month and a half.
Well, see, if you would have had that set up, then your system wouldn't have died.
Yeah, because the original plan is indeed to have that set up and move the Moto to that and use the Mac as my audio.
Well, yeah,
thing.
because it's silent, man.
Yeah. Well, it's silent, and the Mac tends to just be better with audio in general.
Well, audio just works. Windows. I mean, if you want to route audio in all sorts of crazy places, you don't need a Moto. The Mac will do it by itself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where Windows, not so likey, the audio. NetNet's had 2 M2 drives. Western Digital fail at work. So, I mean, these things are not perfect. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's, I really wonder why, though. I mean, it's like, if it fails right away, then it's always a defect in production. But why the hell would something fail like almost a year after the fact? That's the strange part to me.
Yes. And NetNet, yes. Gene and CSB both like the Mac ecosystem. So that's where there's Slovak blood that meets the two.
Yeah. No, I'm totally on board with the Mac. I like the Mac. Their Windows does certain things. The Mac just doesn't.
And let me ask you this.
Of the fact that Windows was more popular.
With Windows machines, where are you now with running them 24/7? Do you turn them off at night or do you just let them run?
No, they're on 24/7.
See, that's what I do. But you keep seeing stuff, and I'm thinking it's the same thing with the green folks. Like, oh, turn your computer off. It's better for it. It'll last longer.
You really don't have to, because they're very good about reducing their energy when they're not in use.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to shut them down. They'll just run with only one
like 1 watt
of the CPU.
Yeah. And it's just doing what needs to be done. And then when your antivirus gets updated and all these other updates that happen, it's much better than turning the thing on in the morning and it's like, oh, wait, I need to download a bunch of stuff.
Well, and the old, now I don't know if this is even true anymore, but it used to be common sense, is that turning power on and off stresses the power supply a lot more than just leaving it on all the time. Because it's that initial jolt of power when you flip a switch is when power supplies typically end up failing. They don't like fail when they're running, they fail when they're turned on. Turning off is not a big deal. It's the turning on that quite often was the point at which a power supply would fail.
Well, yeah.
Probably power supplies are better these days, but...
well, if you had a lot of especially with the mechanical hard drives, if you had a lot of those in a system and you turned it on, it was like...
Right. It's a pretty big drain right off the get-go. Yeah, with nowadays, the video card is probably the biggest drain. And then maybe the CPU after that. Because I think my video card sucks down, like when it's fully engaged, it's sucking down over 200 watt. CPU is probably like 160-ish, maybe around there.
Power cycling
And all
bad.
the peripherals aren't very much.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
All the tech
So,
news.
I don't know. I mean, it's really, I just want to get this computer back up and running. I've also got some new joysticks coming.
Hey, now.
Mm-hmm.
Is this to fly spaceships?
Yep,
I can only imagine.
yeah, correct. That is correct.
I'm surprised you don't have like an IMAX screen.
Well, I mean, I do have a 43-inch screen.
It's close. Now,
That is 2 feet away from my eyeballs.
Do you have a like a chair?
That's probably a big enough screen you could even see it.
Maybe. If you had your chair with like all of these controls and like the chair moves when like somebody fires photon torpedoes and you get a hit, does your chair like rock and stuff? Like you're in the game?
I do not. Yeah, I've seen those accessories. There's a couple of them that you can get. You could also get full motion, but that's pretty pricey.
Well, yeah, but you're a podcast professional, Gene. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a podcast professional.
Back on the Grumpy Old Bens, there was
donate money to the Gene getting a full moving chair setup fund.
You know, that's way better because at one point during Grumpy Old Bens, there was a Get Bemrose a Bidet drive going on. So
my God.
So this is way better than that.
Jesus Christ.
Now, if you can combine the two, the moving chair with the bidet,
no,
you could just handle your business while you're flying your spaceships.
I'm sure there are people that do. I'm sure there are. Because the people, you see these occasionally, you'll see people doing like 36-hour marathon, 48-hour marathon on Twitch.
Those are sick people, Gene.
That's a lot of time to be in front of a camera. Because usually by about 18 hours, maybe even before then, maybe by 14 hours, people's, their brain starts to slow down. And they start doing stupid things and not paying attention to what they're doing.
Yeah, be sleep deprivation's a thing.
Entertaining.
Yes.
That could be entertaining for an audience. Not particularly good for the people, though.
Well, no, I mean, this is also where your sudden adult death syndrome. You've heard this a decent amount over the years with, a guy didn't leave a cyber cafe, played a game for 36 hours and dropped dead. It's like, it's a stress.
That can happen. Like, I think I've probably done 24 hours quite a bit, but doing more than that is
Gene, that
dangerous.
was back in your younger days.
No, that was last year.
You're not as young as you were last year, are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same age.
Okay, now here's a controversial talk the wife and I were having this morning. Who would be more powerful, Darth Vader or the Master from Doctor Who? Time Lord or Sith?
Well, but that depends on what you mean by powerful.
Right. See, exactly. This is not an easy 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of detail.
I mean, the Master didn't have the power to levitate objects with his mind.
No, but
he could travel in time, and he was very good at influencing people. And he was just a generic bad guy, like he had a general agenda of melees.
And if you can go back in time, then you just go back to when your opponent was a kid. Then you just, knock him off.
Yeah, exactly. That's a silly question.
But if you want to weigh in on it, feel free. It's one of these questions people will be talking about. I
did weigh in. I think that it's a silly question because it's like saying,
would you rather be the Master or Darth Vader?
Which do you think, a unicorn or Snow White? Which one of those is more purple?
Snow White, obviously.
Go. Snow White's more purple? Wrong answer.
Damn. The unicorn.
Wrong answer.
Neither. Both.
Exactly. Neither and both.
For a minute, I thought we were inside of a Big Bang Theory episode.
Well, Sheldon was generally correct.
Well, they wrote him that way.
Not always, though. I had caught him in a few mistakes.
Ooh, Sir Gene Ketchen. The mistakes. Mm-hmm. You could do a podcast about that. See? There's topics everywhere.
Did I do a podcast about fun with flags?
Yes. I thought that was the best part of that show. I thought that was hilarious. when he then brought in Amy Farrah Fowler, and it was just so not smooth. And I'm thinking, hey, that's like Unrelenting. Hi, welcome to Unrelenting with Darren and Gene.
Hmm?
I mean,
well, if you had CSB do the intro, that's kind of what it would sound like.
oh, CSB, he won't lend his voice. He'll only lend his words.
He doesn't have a voice.
Oh, I've heard his voice.
Well, everyone's heard his voice, but
But he has no voice.
He has no voice. Exactly.
Stand up, CSB. Let your voice be heard.
Yeah. Well, he has no voice because I banned him. So,
Aha, but then he banned you, Rushki.
Well, he can't ban me after I banned him.
Yes, you can. It's like being on double secret probation.
No, there's no such thing as double secret probation.
It's
what
like
are you talking about?
Super duper double secret probation. Everybody knows about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're not in the troll room right now at noagendastream.com.
Yeah, I was banned from the troll room.
Rightfully
so. In the troll room
for being Gene.
From, here.
That was the reason given to being Gene. That's all you need.
For banning?
Yes.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
You were banned for being Gene.
Like, all I know is only people that clearly have issues and need to go on power trips would ever ban somebody. So, there you go.
And you got anything else for this particular episode of Unrelenting?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else happening right now.
In the world, or in your mind, or in Austin?
Country's going to hell in the handbasket.
No. Joe Biden said people are saving more money and are more financially secure than they ever have been.
Well, they are in Russia. Absolutely. That's the country he's running.
That's right. He's talking about the wrong country.
This country, remember?
I keep forgetting.
Yeah. People don't understand. When Joe Biden says things like that, he's referring to the country he's actually running.
Yeah, that's true. Ned Gene was banned for trying to sell Russian crypto in the troll room. That was a Russian crypto scam. What was your version, the Russian version of Bitcoin called? Like Putin coin, was it? Or
oh, this is fascinating. It's the first time I'm hearing this. Keep going.
It would be. I'm just thinking this is great. I like this theory.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably doing better than the normal cryptos are. There's nothing like watching those values go down and down and down.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people bought all these shit coins, then what do you expect?
But the real coin was going down more, which was the most interesting thing. And it may just be because like Cardano and those are very low value coins. I mean, when you get down to like 47 cents, there's really not much further to go. But the percentages, when I was watching this over the last week or two, Bitcoin was quite often moving at a much higher percentage down than the other coins. But I think it's mainly because
I think that's just because it's got more volume moving.
Right.
So.
Well, and there's more regular folks in Bitcoin than the other shit coins. So I think
here's one thing that's happened too. You got to remember is now that PayPal allows you to sell Bitcoin, so you can put Bitcoin into PayPal, and then you can use that as a source of funding instead of your bank account.
Well, you have to
at the current, whatever the hell exchange rate that PayPal has. Well, that means all these people that have been sitting on Bitcoin and are afraid that it's going to keep going down are now using Bitcoin as their funding source in PayPal, which means there's way more people selling Bitcoin. And by people, I mean the company PayPal is dumping a lot of Bitcoin now, which is reducing its value further. So the smart money is still on to buy and hold on Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm about
buy the dip.
40% of my crypto is Bitcoin, and I did well by testing out. I think I mentioned on the last show that I tested out ExpressVPN and was not really impressed. So I went in because they have a 30-day money back guarantee. I used crypto to purchase, and I was wondering when I went and asked for the refund, which was like 2 weeks in, which was right in the middle of this crypto downturn. I mean, I think Bitcoin was down like 25% between the time I tried my first, when I paid for the thing and then asked for a refund. And they paid back in whatever was $100 at that given time. So I got more Bitcoin back, which I thought was cool. Obviously, they're doing an instantaneous thing, but I'm like, so I actually, made money by doing the 30-day free trial, which you don't always get that lucky. But I believe that the average person doesn't know what Cardano and Algo and Ethereum is. So they buy Bitcoin, and that's why those people are more apt to pull out, where I think people that are into the more fringe coins are more in the mindset like I am with Cardano. Like, I'm just holding it because I think it's eventually going to get there. I wasn't planning on pulling it out. I wasn't looking for a get-rich
totally
quick.
Worthless.
Yeah, possibly. But that's why you diversify between different coins. And it's like going to Vegas, man. It's like going to Vegas. When you go to Vegas, you don't get to be like, give me half of that back. No, you let it ride. You put your bet down, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you go home with you had your entertainment value of watching where those values were going up and down, which is, I guess, kind of fun for some people.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it with real money. I mean, because there's these folks, and I do not understand the mindset that when these Bitcoin things, when the fear of missing out hits, the kind of people that go in and they mortgage their house and they take every penny of their savings. I'm like, I'm all in. And then it crashes and they wonder why.
Well, those people, if I remember right, went all in when Bitcoin hit 1,000. They did pretty good.
Oh, yeah, those folks are doing fine. Now, the folks that went all in when Bitcoin was at $69,000 and it's down to 20,745 right now, they didn't do so well. They did not do so well. I mean, a lot of people thought 30 was kind of that bottom. It's like now that it's down to 20, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few months. The White House talking about doing stuff with crypto, never good. But I think if we see a change in the weather come the next election cycle, you may see another wave going up on this stuff. At some point, there is a proper time to get out. Maybe. I just don't know when it is.
I just don't see a big change coming with the next election. That's all.
Possibly not, but we'll find out soon.
Well, a few months.
Exactly, November, baby. You ready? You willing? You able? You're going to take up arms and stand up?
You guys should vote, if you're a listener, as to what you think is going to happen in November. If you think it's going to be a big red wave, donate $1.
Elon does.
And if you think it's going to be no big red wave, donate $10.
That's not a fair, because then you're skewing it right off the bat.
No, I'm not. How's that skewing it?
What you do
Two
is
different numbers.
You just change the final number. Like if you think it's going to be a big red wave, you donate $10.33. If you don't think it's going to be a big red wave, you do $10.44. That way you don't swing it by the amount. That makes no sense. Yeah, it does.
People will screw up their pennies. It'll come in wrong.
Okay.
No.
What you'd want to do,
the easy method.
If you want to vote it all, you send in $100 cash to the P.O. box marked as for random thoughts. And that would be perfect, and I'll count your vote that way. Are you still working today, by the way?
Just like the Democrats, you're trying to fortify this vote.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying. I am not anywhere near as good as the Democrats at stuff in the box.
No, you need to learn a little bit from them.
I know. I'm trying. I am trying. Are you still working today? It is. Right. It is one of those days. I mean, I don't know what your time schedule is. I don't want to overkeep your bounds.
I am, and I'm not enjoying it because I'm used to having 3 screens that are 40 inches wide, and instead I'm looking at a 13-inch screen.
Yeah, one.
One. I mean, I could hook up another monitor to it. That's just too lazy.
Well, see, there you go. Well, I wish you well in getting that the big machine back up and running. Get a
Well, thank you. I hope that'll happen today. The deliveries are scheduled for today.
Ooh, what size
So I
M2
should
are
get
you
all that
getting,
stuff
and,
today.
and from what brand?
2 terabytes, and it's the X4 or whatever. This is a new fast one that does 7 gigs per second.
Damn, nice.
Um,
Until it crashes.
Western Digital.
Nice.
It's the exact same one that I already added to the machine like 6 months ago.
And that's the one that died?
That one's been working well.
Oh, okay.
No, the one that died is the one that came from the manufacturer.
Oh, I got you. So you'll have two 2 terabyte M2s in there.
Yeah, the machine has 3 slots for M2s.
Nice. Well, enjoy that storage. And be ready to tell
It's
us.
full.
Next week, we'll find out exactly what happened. Tune in again.
Well, I don't know if we will, because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So
Same bat time, same bat channel.